everybody. I'm so excited that we are live today on this beautiful Friday. So, as you get here, say hello so I know who's hanging out. One question I have, this is actually one of my favorite questions to ask. Where are you located? Drop it in the chat. I'll see both the comments from Facebook and YouTube here, which is fantastic. So, where are you located? Let me know in the comments, and we're going to dive on in because this is going to be pretty powerful today. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you how to get high ticket clients as a freelancer in 2022. Who is so excited about this? You're like, oh my gosh, heck yes. I know it's a last minute thing. I'll give you guys one important pre-frame today. So this morning, as I was getting ready, my sweet little Dom came in my room and he goes, Mom, do you want to play cars with me? And I look at my phone to check the time, look at his sweet little face, and he's holding two cars in his hand, my favorite car and his favorite car. And I look at my time again and I'm like, I'm not going to have time to get ready before this training. And you know what I decided? I'm going to play with the cars with Dominic. So today is just hair as it is, no makeup, but that won't take away from the important message that I'm going to share with you guys today. So I'm super, super excited. We're going to dive into why charging too little is setting you and your clients up for failure. Drop a 1 if that's what you're excited to learn about, because I know that's going to be applicable to many of you. By the way, I see tons of locations. Franklin, Tennessee. I see Dominica. So cool. Missouri. So amazing, you guys. Welcome, welcome. Number 2, why charging by the hour is a lose-lose situation. Drop a 2 if that's what you're excited about. Number 3, what to do when clients say your prices are too high. Do you lower your prices? Are you supposed to apologize, give them a discount? Drop that 3 in the chat if you're excited to learn about how to handle that. And number 4, how to 4x freelancing revenue with the high ticket mindset and 100K system. So real fast, a couple quick things, you guys. I'm super excited. Who's excited? Drop a 4, by the way, if that one was you. So drop that 4 in the chat. I got to get a couple important things out of the way. Sometimes I will talk about things that may unintentionally cause some triggers. For example, money can be a very triggering topic for some people. And so you may experience some triggers as I teach. I want to let you know one of my favorite things has been so helpful for me not all through my life, over the last few years is when I learned this skill. Whenever something triggers you, write it down and double star it so that you can recognize this is something that triggered me, or for whatever reason, I'm feeling so much resistance towards this. Oftentimes the gift, the takeaways, the lessons are learned inside of our triggers, which can be so powerful. So please keep that in mind. Kind of cool, right? Like a reframe for triggers. And in the future, one day you'll look back at all your triggers and you'll discover you actually had a roadmap to a lot of growth and healing, which can be really powerful. Pretty cool, right? Drop a yes if you're like, dude, I can totally do that. Number 2, you may at times attach stories. 2 things. So for example, sometimes we'll take stories from our past into our present. And I know it is a huge part of who we are and how we were created. Hi, so good to see you. It's a part of many of the things, the beliefs that we have about our lives, but sometimes we can incorrectly attach stories. For example, if I say oh, the high ticket client mindset or the high ticket freelancer mindset, you might think this applies for other people, but this doesn't apply for me. Rachel, you don't know where I come from. You don't know what country I'm in. You don't know all of the setbacks I've had in life. And I just want to remind you that what I'm sharing today is going to be applicable to you, even if past stories have told you that that is not the case. All right. Number 4 or 3, I guess, this is really important. If you want to criticize someone, just don't. Sometimes people will come on as I'm sharing value and giving free advice and say, ugh, look how exhausted she looks without makeup. Ugh, her hair is frizzy at the ends. Oh, I can't stand her voice. She's so annoying. Whatever. Honestly, you can have those opinions. I don't care. I'm not trying to make people like me. That's okay if you don't. But this is not the place for criticism. Drop a yes if you guys all agree to that. I'm not here to criticize and not criticize anyone else in the chat either. We are here to learn and grow and challenge ourselves. This is super important. If you want to not like me or criticize me, I'm fine with that. I don't care. I'm still going to show up and I'm still going to give value. But the place for that is probably your journal, maybe talking to your therapist about it. We're here to grow and learn. So if that's not your MO today, it's probably not going to be the right fit. And I'm probably not going to be the person you want to learn from. If we do have time at the end, I will save some time for questions. Pretty cool. Who here is like, I've got some time today. I'd love to ask some questions. I won't be able to stay all day because I actually do have to get ready for a photo shoot later. So I will have to do makeup. But I will stay and answer at least some of the questions as you guys ask them at the end. So save your questions until the end. And an important thing that I want to share, I will make an offer at the end of this. There's no pressure for you to take it. Even if you never buy anything from me, I value you. I'm rooting for you. You can absolutely take full advantage of all of my free resources, even if you never spend a single dollar with me ever. The offer is an optional next step for anyone who says, I want it. I want that next step. I want that next, the next thing. Cool. Everyone recognize that. And I will make it clear when I'm transitioning to the offer. But even if that's not for you, you can still learn today. Cool. All right, you guys. So real fast, I'm going to ask 5 questions and I want you to drop the number that is you. And it might be multiple numbers. Okay. Number 1, I need more clients. Drop a 1 if this is you. I need more clients. Number 2, I just want to get my first client. I just want to get my first client. Drop that 2 if this is you. Number 3, clients. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Drop a 3 if that's you. Number 4, I specifically need high ticket clients. I already know this. I already know I need high ticket clients. How do I get them? Drop a 4 if that's you. And number 5, I want to make 100K in my business. Drop a 5 if that's you. Please do not share your own links on here, okay? This is a place to learn and grow. Please don't distract others with your own stuff. Cool? Oh man, you're still doing it. Darn it. Darn it, guys. Boo. Okay. Let's dive on in real fast. I will just go through this quickly for those of you who don't know who I am. Is anyone new to me? Like you're like, I have no idea who this Rachel chick is. She just showed up randomly. My name is Rachel Peterson. I'm a Minnesota-based mom of 3. I own 2 businesses. I started them just about 7 years ago. They became like official in 2016. 10 years ago, I was a single mom on welfare, literally living on food stamps, renting 1 bedroom with my daughter, Dakota. Fast forward to today. I know there's a whole lot there and we could sit there and talk about it, but this isn't about me today. This is about you and growth, which is really cool. The lessons that I've learned. What's wild for me is over the last 7 years, we've built both companies to multiple 7 figures. And I share that not to brag. I share that instead to, I know you, like, hey, Santa, I know her. I share that to let you know that a lot of growth can happen over a couple of years and definitely over a decade. A decade ago, I was literally giving blood plasma and doing medical experiments to pay bills. Didn't know how I was going to pay for diapers. Today, we have done multiple 7 figures, both in education and specifically, ready for this key line, as a freelancer. Drop a yes if it's nice for you guys to know that I still work as a freelancer. I still work with clients. We've done multiple 7 figures specifically with clients. I'm never going to teach anything that I am not doing. Cool? Everybody drop a yes if you love that. It's an important, it's really important distinction. I've seen too many educators who haven't been successful freelancers trying to teach people how to freelance. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys, it really, really stresses me out so much. Like it's one of those things I think about. I'm like, no, stop with the bad advice. This is awful. And so the truth is, you guys, I will never stop freelancing until I am done teaching freelancing. Cool. So I will absolutely do what I teach. It's super, super important. All right. So let's dive into number 1. Why charging too little is actually, believe it or not, setting you and your clients up for failure. Who's excited to learn about this one? Okay, so I want to share a scenario. This is a scenario I've actually seen, but I'm going to make sure it's like anonymized. We have 2 freelancers, okay? We have, let's do Johnny and Sarah, okay? We've got Johnny and Sarah. And Johnny is only charging his clients $500 per month. And he has 3 clients and $1,500 doesn't pay his bills. So Johnny realizes he needs to go get a full-time job or a second job, or he's working overnights at Noodles and Company, right? So Johnny has to work full-time or part-time to make ends meet because he's not charging enough with his clients and it's just not meeting his needs. Okay, so Johnny's working 30, 40 hours elsewhere. We've got Sarah over here, and Sarah is charging her clients $1,500 per month. Sarah also only has 3 clients. And guess what? She's making $4,500 per month. Her bills are met, her needs are met. She doesn't have to have a part-time or a full-time job. So a couple questions for you guys. You're really smart. So I'm going to ask you, which one is more likely to deliver better results? Johnny or Sarah? Let's see if you guys can figure this out. Which one is more likely to be able to think clearly, be creative, focused, happy, secure to try things? Okay, so you guys know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? I nerd out on this. So just so you know, if you haven't been around here for a while, I go off on little tangents and kind of nerd out. I'm actually a pretty, like, just kind of a big nerd. So it's kind of cool. So we've got Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we could dive into this. And some have said like it's not super accurate, but I have generally found this, what I'm about to teach, to be very accurate with people that I've seen. Sarah is more likely to be creative, expansive, secure. She's going to be more focused, rested, because her needs are also met. Now, what's wild is we've got, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you're not familiar with this, it's really interesting. The base of the hierarchy of needs, and you always start at the bottom with this base, is you have to have your basic needs for safety and security met. You cannot progress up Maslow's hierarchy of needs without having these things in place. And this includes things like, and I'm going to put these in the wrong order probably, but I'm just going to put them all in here: shelter, food, heat, safety, like knowing your house isn't going to be broken into, making sure that your basic safety, security, necessities for life are taken care of is the only way that you can continue to expand. And this is the part that blows my mind. So we've got a bunch in here, like fulfillment with friendships and hobbies and things like that. But ready for this, because this blew my mind. You ready for this? It is all the way at the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs that we actually have creativity. Who's ever been in a season of survival mode? Drop a yes if this is you. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I have been there. I'll probably put both hands up. When you are in seasons of survival mode where you're uncertain about where food, shelter, heat, safety, diapers are coming from, you can only mimic, copy, and pretend to be at your highest level of potential for creativity. So when Johnny is not pricing enough or charging enough in order to make sure that his basic needs are met, he is never going to be able to create his greatest work. Real fast, you guys, if you get an aha as we are going, drop those 3 letters. Actually, test it right now. AHA, aha. Aha. So if something clicks for you and you're like, dude, that makes so much sense, or you have a new aha, or it reinforces something that you've learned in a new way, drop it. So test it real fast. Aha, drop it in the chat. I'm totally a book nerd, huge nerd. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. So when I realized this, I understood why in the seasons of survival, I literally couldn't create my best work. And I remember just feeling like, when you almost feel like your nerves or your brain are like a little frizzly, getting a little toasty, that is survival mode. And so Sarah is always going to be able to outperform Johnny. She's probably going to keep her clients longer. She's probably going to have a lot more referrals, word of mouth, testimonials. Sarah's business is going to be set up for success. And not only that, but the clients are going to get better results because she's tapped into her highest level of creation and abundance and excitement and possibility. But if you've ever been in seasons of survival mode, you understand why it didn't feel like you could come up with your best work during that season. Now, here's what's really interesting, okay? And a lot of people don't necessarily talk about the numbers, but I do want to talk about the numbers. Okay, so let's real fast talk about when you work with clients, real fast. Who here is working with clients that are like $300 to $500 a month? Drop a yes in the chat if that's you, so I can kind of see like where you guys are at. All right, so let's just do 500 because it usually makes for pretty easy math. Okay, so if you're charging your clients $500 per month, you are going to need to work with 6 clients just to make $3,000 a month. And I wouldn't say that's a bad amount of money, right? Like that can meet some needs in seasons of life, but who here says, shoot, I need more than that? 3,000 isn't going to cover the goals that I have, the lifestyle I want to live, but let's just use this for easy math, okay? So $3,000 per month, which is going to ultimately be about $36,000 per year. So not terrible, but also doesn't leave a lot of margin. Now, there's a few things that I want to talk about. Oh, only 200. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is going to be super helpful, all right? So what's interesting is we think, okay, $36,000 per year, you could probably afford some tools and resources and team. We're forgetting something. We're forgetting about taxes. Now, taxes are going to take between 15 and 35%, up to 50% if you don't yet have an accountant. So let's just say we take about 20% for taxes. Fair? 20% for taxes. So that means that about 7,200 of that is now gone. This should say per year, not 36,000 per month. So that's going to bring you down to about $29,000. Who here says that just changed everything a little bit, right? That changes things a little bit. Now, here's what we don't think about when we don't charge our clients enough. And this is kind of a wild thought process. Let's say you're bringing home that $29,000 after taxes, okay? Anyone say this is really helpful to see the math breakdown? Because sometimes we just think like, oh, I'll just work with clients and I'll figure out everything a little bit later, right? So now we're in 29,000. It's not looking as good, okay? But this doesn't take into account how much work we're putting in for our clients. Now, hourly rates, we'll talk about that in just a second. I actually don't like hourly rates, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But we're going to calculate an internal hourly rate. This is not going to go out to anyone. But let's say, because we assume that you had 6 clients, right? So 29,000 take home, 6 clients. Let's say you're working 10 hours per week per client. Okay. So 10 hours per week on each client. Would you guys say that's pretty fair? Usually it's like 5 to 10 hours per week per client, depending on what you're doing. Okay. So 10 hours per week per client. Let's do the math real fast. You ready for this? So that is 60 hours per week. And let's say you take 2 weeks off per year. So 60 times 50, so 50 weeks in the year. You've worked 3,000 hours for these 6 clients. Now, when we divide 29,000 by 6,000 hours, guess what happens? We realize very quickly that you are only taking home $4.83 per hour per client. Who's having the oh moment? Drop a ha if you're like, I never thought to do it this way, or I've never actually broken down the numbers and realized I'm making less than even in my country, the minimum wage. That is not what I set out to do. That is not where I want to be. What's wild, though, is when you're only bringing in $4.83 per hour, that does not leave any margin to hire a team, afford tools for support. It doesn't allow you to bring in training, learn from experts, develop your skill sets, work with a mentor, join a mastermind. But not only that, you're working 60 hours per week at $4.83 per hour. Now you also are out of time. Who here is realizing I need to charge higher ticket prices? Who's already getting the aha, the big one? Because this is a huge thing. And in case you're wondering, like, Rachel, isn't this creating like competition for you if you teach people how to become high ticket freelancers? Yeah, totally. Let's go for it. But the reason that I do it is because when freelancers don't charge enough, it actually lowers the respect and the standards in our industry. So when you're only charging $500 per month and you're working 10 hours per week per client, you are literally saying, I am only worth $5 per hour. And you guys deserve more than that. And the truth is, the more that all of us collectively stop charging those bottom of the barrel prices, the more the industry learns and clients learn, this is what I can expect to pay, which is a livable wage. Now, here's the thing, and I want to share this quote from Paul. This is from years ago. Now, to give a little context, my husband Paul is from Honduras. He grew up in a very different culture and situation than me, and so he gives such great advice. Like, he has so much wisdom, and I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of my husband. But one thing he shared with me, because I was talking about the minimum wage, and he said, you know, Ray, not Ray, he calls me Rach. Everyone else calls me Ray. You know, Rach, the reason there's a minimum wage is because if it wasn't there, people would work for less. And I didn't expect that this would just like hit really hard, right? So you worked 10 hours per week per client, 50 weeks in the year, 6 clients, 10 hours per week. Yep, I did calculate 3,000. Yes. I might have said 6,000, but when Paul said people would work for less if there wasn't a minimum wage, I realized that one of the single greatest things that we can do, and I'm trying not to get emotional because I have to take photos today, when we allow clients to pay us so little, we are saying that's what I'm worth. And you say it subconsciously, like to yourself without even realizing it. And you're saying to clients, I don't respect my time and I don't respect my expertise and I don't respect. And of course, these aren't the things you're actually saying, but this is what is taken from it. And the wild part is, you guys, yet when I look at people who are charging $500 a month, they'll say, oh my gosh, there are people who literally charge $200 or $300 per month. Should I lower my prices? Who's ever considered lowering their prices as a way to get clients? I want to share this big thing. This might be your big aha. The big aha is, ready for this? Oh, this is huge. The big aha is there will always be someone willing to do it for cheaper. The race to the bottom never ends. There will always be someone who can compete at a lower price. And I want to remind you that you have permission today to step out of that particular game, that race to the bottom, and completely shift the entire dynamic and step into a new model and mindset of high ticket pricing. Who's getting that big aha? Drop the aha already. Number 2, by the way, if we were to calculate, I mean, I don't have to calculate this much. By the way I calculated this, and this is really, really big. So the way I calculated this is if you're working 10 hours per week per client, there's 10 hours per week, 6 clients, and assuming you only work 50 hours per week is 30,000. Oh, I think you're actually, 3,000. I think you're actually right. That one, let's just real fast redo that math because that's important. Even still. Good call. It's $9.66 per hour. Who here says still no? I don't want to make $9.66 per hour. Thank you for that catch. Math is important. But still at $9.66 per hour, who here says I would do better to literally go get a job at Taco Bell? I'd make more money at Taco Bell. There are fast food restaurants that pay more than this. And you guys are brilliant and you're talented and you're experts. All of that. Still no, right? The only way To get out of that race to the bottom is to literally exit stage left on that model. I am not in the model of being the cheapest. I never want to be the cheapest. To give you guys some context, my packages start at 47,000, and right now they don't actually include done for you work at 47,000. I do strategy, I do consulting, and I train in marketing teams for 8 to 10 figure companies. And that doesn't take me that long for our $47,000 package. We've calculated it for profit and based on how much I want to make per hour. And my highest packages are $247,000. And that includes a little more of the done for you. Drop a yes in the chat if that's helpful. That does not include ad costs. That includes no costs. That does not include the copy that needs to be written, the funnels that need to be built. While I might advise on it, they still have to work with their team to develop it. That does not include any of the additional costs. That's just the strategy. And that is 47,000 per year, but it only takes me about 1 to 3 months to develop that strategy and get it done, not working 10 hours a week. Okay. So let's dive on into the second point. Who's getting the ahas? You have permission to leave the low ticket model. DFY, done for you means you are actually creating for them. If you're a copywriter, you're actually writing the copy. If you are a funnel builder, you are actually building the funnels. What I do is more of freelance consulting and strategy and training. So what happens is like a client will come to me, they bring me their copy that's struggling, and I do what's called a done with you model. So it's not education, it's done with you. So I'll come in, look at their base content, tweak things, edit things, support them with the strategy. Cool. All right. Number two, why charging by the hour is a lose-lose situation. Okay. Who here charges by the hour? Drop a yes if that's you. Okay, so charging by the hour, I have a really interesting story to share with you guys. You ready? So there's an old story that goes kind of something like this. So a man calls a plumber to his home to solve a problem with one of his pipes. The plumber looks around and listens for about 10 minutes, and he grabs a pipe wrench and he hits a pipe 3 or 4 times in the same place. The problem is quickly solved. The plumber then hands the man his bill, and the man is shocked to see that the invoice is for $200. The man objects. How on earth can you charge $200 for simply banging on a pipe 3 or 4 times with a pipe wrench? I demand that you itemize this bill. Anyone say this hits too close to home? The plumber takes the invoice from the man, recalculates it, and hands it back. The invoice now reads, Item 1, hitting the pipe with a wrench, $2. Item 2, knowing to hit the pipe with the pipe wrench, $99. Item 3, spending 20 years learning, practicing, and developing experience to know exactly where and how to hit it, $99. Who here needed that story today? Because it's reminding you, you aren't just charging for the deliverables. When someone hires you, they are paying for your time, expertise, results, your second set of eyes, your insights. Even if you're doing it, they are not just paying you for the actual deliverables, because then that goes back to the race to the bottom game. Charging hourly, clients are not paying you for the amount of time someone spends on work. So for example, in our company, I don't care if someone literally works from Mexico for an entire week. I just want to make sure, even if you only work 2 hours that week, if you got your work done, go for it. Take the week off. Who here says, I love this mentality. It's changing the way I'm seeing this. So what's wild is like if a team member says, hey, I want to be out on Friday. My work is done for the week. 0 problems. If someone were to say to me, Rachel, you're paying me $50,000 per year and I work 10 hours per week, you know what I would say? Fantastic. You are very efficient and you've spent a lot of time studying and learning. Most Fridays we have like kind of a more light day. It's pretty darn optional. If your work is done, I don't care how much you work, because we are not paying people for the amount of time someone is spending on work. This is not Taco Bell. I keep bringing up Taco Bell because that was my first job. I actually loved it. But you have to actually have people standing in specific spots for shifts and for hours. It is based on the amount of time, which is very, very interesting. Okay. Now, charging hourly actually punishes you for learning, getting faster, more efficient, and keeps you absolutely stuck. I will answer some questions at the end, so save your questions until the end. Cool? So I will. I love Taco Bell. It's fantastic. So on an hourly model, you are literally capping yourself. What? Who's getting the aha? When you are on an hourly model, you are capping yourself literally. 100%. You are the one who is implementing that glass ceiling where it feels like you can't break through. You know why? Drop a yes if this is you. You want to make $100,000 a year someday, maybe someday soon. Drop a yes if this is you. Pretty cool. Ooh, de Honduras. I will. I'll let him know you say hi, and hi from him. I'm sure he'd say hi. All right, 100,000. Okay, great. Let's break down what that looks like on an hourly model. Okay, so if you want to make $100,000 in your business someday, maybe someday soon, you have to recognize what the average freelancer makes. Some of you may make more, and that's fantastic, but I'm going to use the average freelancer rate as a really good comparison. Hi. Okay, so the average freelancer makes $24 to $25 per hour. And according to that calculation, you would have to work 80 hours per week to make 6 figures. Drop a yes if you say, I don't want that. 100,000 sounds amazing, but not at 80 hours a week. When would I sleep, work out, spend time with my family? Like there's zero, like we can all say 80 hours a week is zero life balance. And does making $100,000 per year help with a lot of issues? Yeah, it really can. It opens up a lot of opportunity. It gives you access to resources. However, there's a huge price to pay for it if you're working 80 hours per week. Now, according to this model, it would be impossible to ever make $250,000. It would be impossible to make $1 million per year. Do you guys realize that? Like that was a huge aha for me, and that's why I moved away from hourly. I personally work Monday through Friday about 7. Right now, it's actually about 7 to 3 or 7 to 5. So I'm not even working 80 hours per week, and we're generating multiple 7 figures. I will be answering questions at the end, so don't you worry. All right, let's keep on going. So what's interesting is when you switch to a different model 100% of the time, and that model is one of 2 things, either project-based, where you can calculate the number of hours something's going to take you and reverse engineer how much you want to make. But that internal hourly calculation doesn't go out there. That's not for everyone's knowledge. No one needs to know how much you make per hour. So if I have a project that is $10,000, and guess what? I literally only worked 10 hours and I brought in a VA to handle the other 10 or 20 hours of it. Guess what? We just changed the hourly to $1,000 per hour. Drop a ha if it's clicking for you. So project based, as you get faster, quicker, more efficient, you do not lower your project based pricing, even if it only takes you 10 minutes to do a $10,000 project. Did you hear me on that? Because you are not getting paid based on what the deliverable is. You're getting paid for your expertise, the results, the quality of the work, right? It's not more is more. You don't get paid for more. With that mentality, wouldn't the most valuable thing to like literally be getting everything in bulk all the time? But I like to think of like the example. One time we went to this restaurant. There's a really fancy restaurant in Minnesota. We've only been there a couple times. They're like literally booked out for months. It's my favorite restaurant. It's called Spoon and Stable in Minnesota. It's created by I'm pretty sure it's a James Beard Award winner, for those of you who are cooking nerds. James Beard Award winner, and I'm pretty sure they might have a Michelin star, but I have to double check that one. But when we went there, I saw that there was a side dish of carrot, and the dish was $18. So I was like, oh, dude, that must mean that this is gonna be a huge dish. I bet it's like family style. So literally we ordered the side of carrot, and I'm so excited about it. I thought like, oh, it's weird. They forgot an S on this. So our side of carrot arrives, and all of a sudden, it is one carrot. The one carrot is cut in half, and there's literally like this finely sliced like brown sugar and bacon, and it's like everything is like it's almost like a gobstopper of flavor. So every bite is amazing. And I will tell you, it was the best carrot I've ever had. But more deliverables is not always more quality. So the first model, like I said, that I want you guys to use is project based. That's one that you can absolutely use. If you don't understand what a freelancer is, this probably won't be the best training for you. I will say, like, yes, thank you for explaining it. I will say there are some other videos that might make more sense for you to jump on into on my channel. So if this one's confusing for you, maybe come back to this one later. But maybe I'll just do a video on what a freelancer is at some point. The second is retainer model. Retainer model is a set amount that you charge every single month to your clients. Okay. This is the amount I'm going to charge. It could be, when we talk about high ticket prices, I generally think over $1,000 per month, but I really like 1,500, 2,500, 3,500, 4,500 per month. Yes, for the same work that you are already creating, but you will be getting better and you'll have more time to focus and look at analytics. I like both project-based and retainer model. I recommend this being 1,000 plus baseline. Never, ever, ever again charge less than $1,000 per month. Drop a yes if you hear me loud and clear on that. Do you guys see why this is so important? Drop a yes, drop an aha. Thank you. And isn't Coke so much better than Pepsi? I love Coke so much. It's so yummy. Okay. This is 1,000 plus baseline per month. All right. Now, things get really cool when you dive into the 3-tier proposal, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day because it allows you to stretch your belief as you see the results come in, which is very powerful, right? Okay, who here says, I want to be like the restaurant? I want to be like the restaurant that serves one carrot for $18 and it's the most delicious carrot someone's ever had. And we're not going to compete on price anymore. Yes, yes, yes. Fantastic. Oh, so cool, you guys. And here we say pop. It's the best pop. Just a little side note. I tried this new pop flavor. It's a limited edition one. It's called Starlight Pop. You guys, I'm obsessed. Like it's like a 0-calorie pop. I'm not saying it's healthy in any way. I don't care. I love it. Starlight Coke is the best pop I've ever had in my whole life. I'm absolutely obsessed. If Coke wants to sponsor me for Starlight Pop, I will. Okay, let's keep on going. Who's gotten an aha already, even if it was something you already knew or had heard, but it's clicking in a new way? Drop that aha in the chat. Number 3, when clients say your pricing is too high. Who's ever experienced this? And let me guess. When you experienced it, no, Pepsi's not better. When you experienced it, you took it personally. You thought, I must be charging too much. You thought, I should probably lower my prices. Maybe I'm not talented. Maybe I'm not good. You took it personally. And I want to explain something really important. So, for example, sometimes people will make fun of my high forehead. I'll show you guys my forehead just real fast, just so you can get a reference point. So, I have a very high forehead, goes all the way back. When people used to make fun of me for having a high forehead, it hurt my feelings. Like it really hurt my feelings. And I was like, oh, I must need hair plugs, or maybe I should draw my hairline lower or whatever, because it felt like I allowed it to feel very personal. But on the flip side, and by the way, I have grown through that. But on the flip side, if someone says this girl is dumb, I 0% take it personally. You know why? Because I know what my IQ is, and I know what my ACT score was. And I know for a fact that you're not going to be able to tell me I'm dumb, because I'm not even going to argue it. 0%. I don't take it personally because I already know that I'm not dumb. Like I actually know that technically I'm a genius. Does that make sense? So what's wild is when someone says your pricing is too low, When you take it personally, you're allowing them to impact your business success. I want you to think real fast of, I'm just going to use two brands that are pretty well known. 500 a month is not high ticket. It's at least a baseline of 1,000. Okay. Maybe watch it again just to make sure you got the whole part leading up to that. When you allow someone to tell you your prices are too high, it's the equivalent of people saying that I seem dumb and me suddenly trying to prove that I'm smart. Who here says I have nothing to prove? Now, that being said, it's not right for people to tell you your prices are too high, because there are literally, you guys, clients who can afford so much more than you'd realize. I want you to think real fast. If someone who had only ever bought Toyotas went into a Maserati dealership with no idea of how much a Maserati costs, feel free to sub in your favorite car, a Bentley, a Rolls Royce, a Lamborghini. I'm not a huge car person. I'm just a fan of like 3-row SUVs and lots of cup holders. That's my must. What's interesting is if a Toyota owner walked into a Maserati dealership and said, $200,000 for this? That is way too much. Maserati and their staff are not only going to not care and not lower their prices, you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, hey, sir, the Toyota dealership is down the road. That's going to be a lot more in your budget. And they can say it nicely. But the truth is, you guys, you are Maseratis, you are Lamborghinis, you are Rolls Royces. When you are delivering services that help someone build their business, you are not just a Toyota. Toyota is awesome, by the way. Nothing against Toyota, just using it as like the reference point of price. Instead of taking it personally, you need to recognize that that is not the right client for you. Got it? Drop a ha if you needed this. That is not the right client. Stop talking to clients with no budget and then getting discouraged when they say your price too high. The truth is, you guys, the Toyota dealership would not they would not try to go steal the audiences of Maserati because they know it's not the right audience. That audience would say, I'm not looking for a cheap car. I'm looking for luxury. I'm looking for high touch. I'm looking for white glove, etc. I will open up Q&A at the end, you guys, I promise. So what's interesting is many of you are actually getting discouraged, getting ghosted, getting lowballed, and losing your momentum. Do you see I get like super passionate about this? Sorry, not sorry. I'm working on not saying sorry when I'm not sorry. So you can filter out the clients who can't afford you. So if you're spending a lot of time on discovery calls, if you're getting ghosted nonstop, this is for you, okay? Because otherwise you go on 10 discovery calls and you get just so frustrated and you start to question your business, your worth, your capabilities, your skills. When the truth is, this simple system would support you to literally filter people out, okay? It goes, ready for this. Application. Now, how do you get people into your application? We'll talk about that in part 3. Okay, so I'm just going to put an M there right now. You need to be sending prospects to an application. Who's getting those ahas? You need to be sending them to an application. You need to be asking what their revenue and or their budget is. You can pick one or both. This may seem scary, but the truth is, you guys, if I walked in, there's some stores I can't even get into because they need to know what your revenue is before you can walk in, because they don't want to waste their time. So you need to be sending people to an application, and you do not need to take calls with business owners who do not have a budget or revenue to support you. And I'll talk about why in just a second, because, well, and let me also share, because it's leaving you discouraged and frustrated and questioning whether being a freelancer works or not. When the truth is, this process will filter those out. So what if you only get one client discovery call per week, but it's a lot more qualified, and at least now you know you're getting in front of the right people, okay? So discovery call. Do not send your prices via email. Do not send your prices via pricing sheet. Do not put your pricing on your website. Why? Because you are not a server, you are a sommelier. That is a high-end wine expert. A high-end wine expert doesn't give people the price list. They pair things. They are experts. They're white glove. They tell you exactly what you need. So what's interesting is you need to take a discovery call. Just like you can't submit on a doctor's website, I need 1,000 tabs of Vicodin or Percocet, right? That's not going to go very well. You need to meet with the doctor. You need to share your signs, your symptoms, your pains, etc. Also notice, important thing, notice I'm not telling you need to convince those clients. Did you catch that? You do not need to prove to them why you are worth it. You are going to ask questions. You are going to guide the conversation. You're going to identify pain points. And in doing so, that right there proves a lot of your expertise. Who here's getting that aha? So you take them onto a discovery call. This is face to face. Why? I could talk about this for a long time, but because of the parasocial relationship, you want to build relationships. You take a video call with this client. Okay. So you have the discovery call. Guess what? You can still say no after the discovery call. It still might not be the right fit. You might identify some red flags. You do not need to send a proposal to every single client that hops on a discovery call with you. Okay. So you go application to discovery call. From there, I personally prefer this model, and it's what I teach. It's what I recommend. It works best for most people. You're going to send them a proposal in 24 to 48 hours. I would absolutely never put my pricing on Instagram because I learned this actually. I used to be a hairstylist, which is why most of the time my hair looks kind of cool, only because I literally was a trained professional. People would look at prices on websites and it would drive me crazy because they would book a one-step color when the truth is they have black box dye on their hair and they actually need a completely transformative color transformation. And so as the hairstylist, I had to be the bad guy a lot. So someone would say, it says that a tint is $60. But you're saying that the color correction is going to cost $400. And I'd say, well, yeah, that's because we hadn't diagnosed exactly what you needed. Does that make sense? So people will look and they'll assume that they need the lowest packages, and it may not be exactly what they need. So for example, if someone wanted to build their business and they're like, I want to build my business and I just want someone to basically like create IG stories for me, you wouldn't want them to look at your pricing and say, that's what I want done. Otherwise, it might not deliver exactly what they're looking for. It'd be a lot better to prospect on LinkedIn or another platform. Okay. So from there with the proposal, now there's a couple more things I'm going to share that are super important. The client signs or says yes, and then signs the agreement. So signed client, this is the order. Feel free to take a screenshot as they go. Okay. They sign the contract and agreement. Then they send payment. Payment up front. Drop a yes or an aha if you hear me, or that's a new thing for you. You get paid first, okay? Payment first and then work. Here we go. Feel free to screenshot it. Beautiful. All right. Who's getting those yeses and ahas? So we go application. Application comes after what I'll talk about in just a second. Application to discovery call to proposal to signed contract to payment, and then you start the work. Why? Because who here knows that the difference between a client paying or not could be the difference between diapers or not? Been there. Anyone ever have a client not pay their invoice after you already put in all the hard work and it literally screwed you over and set you back? Yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. Cool? Cool? All right, let's keep on going. Yes, on your application, ask your clients monthly revenue and or their budget. Okay, this is essential. Now, this is super important. A lot of people market themselves to these audiences, okay? Freelancers, solopreneurs, startups. I'm not including fully funded startups here, okay? Just startups as a whole, all right? And small businesses. Here's a hint. If a mom and pop shop has their family working in that store, there's a very good chance that they're not going to have a budget to hire you. So certain small businesses, so I'm going to put an asterisk by that, mom and pop shops. These are not your dream clients. And here's why. Ready for this? When you work with companies, businesses that are generating, it's pretty universally under 300,000 per year, but I see that mindset creep up all the way to like 500,000. If the clients that you are prospecting towards are not generating at least $500,000 per year pretty consistently, what's going to happen is they don't even see their money necessarily as revenue. What they're seeing is this is the money on my family's table. They're thinking about their family, which, by the way, isn't a bad thing. But every dollar that they spend in their business, they're seeing it as though you're taking that money away from their family. Who's getting this huge aha? What's wild is what's wild, save that question till the end, Misty. I want to answer that in depth. What's wild is these businesses oftentimes aren't even running payroll for themselves. They're not running the payroll for themselves. So basically, everything is either expenses or money in their bank. And what happens is they have to like think about their family every single time that they might hire someone, and they're going to be a lot more stingy with their money. So I want you to keep that in mind. Okay. Who here is getting an aha? Pretty cool, right? You don't necessarily want to work with these businesses. You may want to add the word established small businesses, long time running businesses, businesses that do 500,000 plus in revenue. I always market myself as someone who, write this down if you're taking the notes away from this. I always market myself as someone who works with 8 to 10 figure businesses. Might a business get in with working with me who does 7 figures? Sometimes, not a lot. The truth is, you guys, you get to decide the parameters for revenue to set yourself up for success. It is better to take less discovery calls with more qualified applicants than to be on discovery calls for a fourth of your week. Drop an amen if you feel me loud and clear on that. All right, let's keep on going. Pretty powerful. Who's excited for Q&A too at the end of this? Because I am. And number 4, now this is a big one. Number 4 is how to 4x your freelancing revenue with high ticket mindset and 100K system. Now, this is big, and we don't think about it because we don't realize how much it's a part of like our programming, our wiring, at least to start. The good news is you can always reprogram thoughts. You can always break false beliefs. You can always choose to believe something different and then reinforce it. But who here grew up in an area where the mindset was definitely not high ticket? Drop a yes if this is you. It was a place where maybe you didn't see Lamborghinis or Maseratis, and there weren't mansions on your street. I can raise both hands for that one, by the way. I grew up, the first few years of my life, I grew up in like actual poverty, which is really interesting. We lived in the basement of an older lady's house, and I think our rent was like $100 a month. My parents made like $11,000 a year. And as I grew up, it wasn't until I was about 14, 15, somewhere in there, that my parents like switched careers and started becoming more successful. But up until that point, we were really struggling. And so it's really interesting because I grew up on a street where like there's a few meth dens on in the neighborhood I grew up on. And the park next door to our house has had so many violent crimes. My house actually got shot growing up. And so like it was a very different mindset than even what I talk about today. And so, yep, military base. My dad was in Army Reserve for a few years, and I will say it's more of like a coupon clipping mentality. You know, it's very different. So I want you to recognize real fast, and this is super important, that if you grew up around a community, an ecosystem that didn't understand money and net worth and growth and success in finances and being able to save and investing, like you're going to have a lot to learn, just like I did. Who's getting some ahas because you're like, what? For example, I was always the clearance rack person. My parents would buy me like Easter shirts and I'd wear them months after Easter because they got it at 80%, 80% off discount. And like, that was what my life looked like growing up. There were many times where we went without. I was a clearance rack person, Goodwill shopping person. And there were many, many false beliefs that were brought into my life at that time, like money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil. I can't keep money. Money just keeps slipping through my fingers. In fact, love my parents very much. But like, I remember they would go to like Target and they'd write checks and they'd say, I hope they don't cash it today because there's no money in the account. And we would just always like play the timing game. And it was a very, very difficult cycle to break out of. But one of the biggest, most pervasive mindsets that I took away from that time that I've had to work really hard to overcome, and you may understand this too, is that price and value are two extremely different things. Who's getting that aha right there? Price and value are two extremely different things. For example, I used to think I would never fly in first class because the price is so high and it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would you pay for just a little more room? And then I didn't realize that at one point, the value of being able to sit down and have a meal on a plane and have room to read business books and learn and grow, or work and spread out my arms and have a laptop. It's not a necessity, but my goodness, it is a nice value to have. I used to think like, I don't understand why people buy expensive purses. I can get like just fine purses at Target. If you've ever been in the Target purse cycle, which I spent years in, you know how Target purses wear out like several times a year. So you end up with like four purses from the year because the inside lining breaks. And before you know it, you got four purses this year and it was $100. And you probably could have gotten a Michael Kors at like TJ Maxx for, anyways, the point is price and value are two extremely different things. There was a lot that I didn't understand. And so what's interesting is that one of the levers to securing high ticket clients and growing your business is to step into a high ticket mindset. Now, high ticket mindset, one of the single greatest things, by the way, and then we'll talk about the system. High ticket mindset looks like abundance, value, support, kindness, generosity. One thing I will say is that I was never more stingy in my life than when I had little. I still tried to give, but like there wasn't a lot to give because there was the fear of like, what if I run out of money? Who here knows exactly what I'm talking about? And so the truth is, you guys, there were so many times where I would not be, thank you, I would not be generous or abundant. And the truth is, this actually creeps into the way that we market our businesses. I'm going to talk to you guys real fast about the importance of how you market your business according to the high ticket mindset. When someone gatekeeps their stuff, they say, I'm not going to give my best stuff away. And I've heard this being taught by marketers nonstop. I'm going to hold back my best stuff so that I can get people to sign with me. If I give away my best stuff, literally, you guys, people won't hire me. Who's ever had that thought or heard that before? Drop a yes if you ever heard that or had that. The interesting thing is, I've met a few billionaires in my life, which still is kind of weird. Like, what? You're like a billionaire? So I've met a few billionaires in my life and gotten to know a few of them pretty well. And I found that generally speaking, at least these people have been the most abundant, generous people I've found. The first question they've asked me is, what can I do to support you? Is there anything that you need? Hey, what are you looking for right now? And what was really interesting about kind of identifying that mindset was that it felt like abundance. It felt like support. It felt like kindness, generosity. There's something very interesting about being willing to open your purse to others that allows your purse to be open to what's out there for you. So I want you to imagine that you're like, I don't want to open my purse because I'm afraid people are going to take my money. But what if there's a stream of money that is wanting to open up to you, but your purse is closed so you can't catch any of it? So the truth is, the mentality of gatekeeping your best stuff, your value, your action steps, your resources, you don't have to. Now, do you have to give any of it away for free? No, absolutely not. You have permission to charge. You have permission to profit. You have permission to hold it all back if you want. You have permission to get patents and copyrights and trademarks and protect your IP. You have permission to do all of that. But what I'm going to tell you is, when I tried to market my business and I tried to get clients, my business grew. Sometimes it struggled. However, on the next side, the next season of my life, when I started serving others and giving tons of value with an open palm. Who here noticed that at the beginning I said, even if you never buy anything that I offer, I value you. You can soak up my free resources. I'm here to support you. I'm rooting for you. I won't hop on a bajillion one-on-one calls because for me, that's a boundary that I've built. However, I can give a ton away for free in YouTube videos and resources and cheat sheets and my emails and my TikToks and my podcasts because I know that is the mindset of high ticket and abundance. So I'm going to just break this down real fast for you guys. Okay. So question for you guys, who here says, shoot, Rachel, I already know I am not marketing myself well because I'm holding back some of my good stuff. The more you put the good stuff out there, the more people are going to want to work with you because they're going to know that you know your stuff and it's powerful. Okay. So real fast, you have to know the high ticket mindset in order to understand how marketing yourself can be effective. All right. So this is really interesting to me. When I choose how I'm going to market, what I like to do is look at platforms that are ready for this, long-term, searchable, and leveraged. What that means is, for example, I don't do a ton of one-on-one calls because they honestly they drain me. And my thought is I'd rather just do a YouTube because then it can serve 100 or 1,000 or 100,000. In fact, you guys, I literally have one video that I created because people kept asking me how to film and edit TikTok videos, and I created it, posted it on YouTube, and it has. Last time I checked, it has 2 million views. Do you see why long-term, searchable, and leveraged content is big? The next thing that I'm going to share, and this is, I'll touch on this just briefly because I'm very passionate about it. Who's getting those ahas? Drop the ahas in the chat. So long-term, searchable, and leveraged. The second major factor that I look at when I decide how I'm going to market myself is, are there other things that I can tap into that are going to skyrocket the performance of this? So for example, most people just like take professional photos, drop the professional photo with like a bunch of kind of vague, fluffy value into groups. Leveraged means it's not one-on-one. It means if I create something once, I can serve people multiple times with it, or multiple people can experience it. Just like this right here, right now. This video where I'm hanging out with like 100 of you guys, which is so cool. That's leverage. So it means I can give amazing value and everyone gets it. And it lives on Facebook and YouTube. So then that way, even more people can be served by it. So I personally, I give tons of free value away. I don't give absolutely everything, not my like organization of things, but I give pretty much everything away for free. And what's powerful is that's when my business started exploding. That's when I secured Dean Graciosi as a client. That's when I secured Metricool as a client. That's when American Express asked to work with me. That's when I'm currently working on finishing up a deal with Vista, which is really, really powerful. Vistaprint. Like so many amazing opportunities came my way when I started focusing on delivering value consistently. I want you to write these words down, even if they feel like basic or you've heard this before. Don't get stuck in the I already know that trap, because if you already know that, you'd be doing it. Cool. So that's, by the way, something that really helps me. Anytime I think like, I already know that, great. How's implementation going? And then I go, oh yeah, okay, I can listen one more time. So if you show up giving value consistently, that is when you're going to notice that things start to happen for you. People start to hear about you. People start to talk about you. Things start to come together behind the scenes that in ways that don't make sense. But here's the second big thing that I tap into. When you create video where you're looking and talking to the camera without tons of filters, because filters do sometimes add like a layer of separation. But when I'm talking directly to you, who here feels like you could like sit down with me for coffee and totally we'd hit it off? We could probably be best friends. Anyone feel that? Or maybe you felt that way with a celebrity before. Like they talk to you and you're like, dude, I could totally hang out with this person. It would be awesome. What's powerful is it's because video content, when you're looking into the camera, is actually tapping into this thing called the parasocial relationship. Now, a lot of people make it seem like it's this like evil thing or this like scary thing or whatever. I think it's actually a really cool thing. I like to respect it. But the parasocial relationship essentially means that when you watch someone on video and they're looking into the camera and you feel like they're talking right to you, Even if you logically know that you're not besties with this person, the same parts of your brain light up as though you were sitting down for coffee with a friend. And so it's interesting because our brains haven't evolved to recognize yet that video is a little bit different. Some people don't experience it, but most of us do. And I'll be honest with you guys, I know all about the parasocial relationship. And guess what? It still works on me. I still watch videos of like, one in particular is Jessica Chastain. And I'm like, dude, we could totally be friends. And I know the parasocial relationship, yet it still works. So you build know, like, and trust faster, specifically when you tap into the parasocial relationship. So what that looks like, ready, is video. Now, if we look at these 4 pieces of criteria for marketing ourselves and our business in a sustainable way that snowballs over time, it needs to be long-term, searchable, leveraged, and ideally it's going to be video. Here are the platforms that come to mind in order. And I will share one caveat. I'm not just saying YouTube is the way, okay? Okay. Now this is wild. These are the 4 big platforms that I recommend freelancers market themselves on with video. So it's long-term, searchable, and leveraged, and you're tapping into the parasocial relationship. Don't hold anything back. Give your best value away for free because that is the mindset of high ticket. We're going to keep on going, guys, because we're going to talk more about some of the systems to help me to identify whether or not someone's set up to scale. Now, I noticed that you switched this. I'm going to give you one huge disclaimer here. YouTube is not a fast results platform. So I love TikTok and IG Reels for super quick bursts of energy. Like a lot can happen with those. So TikTok and IG Reels, I feel, are the best short term, but they also do have a long term effect, more so on TikTok than IG Reels. Facebook Lives, you can always like revitalize. They live on for a little while, so they're halfway decent. You can also run ads to them down the road. YouTube is by far the most powerful, but also the slowest building. So if I were to just start marketing my business from the ground up, and you probably see that I pretty much do this, and LinkedIn videos could be great too. Not everyone loves LinkedIn. I'm not a huge fan right now, which changes season by season. But what's so interesting is if you wanted to do one short term, one long term, and repurpose. So I would do one video per week on YouTube. I would do one TikTok per day and then repurpose that TikTok to IG Reels per day. And then when I do my YouTube videos, like, are you guys watching on Facebook or YouTube? Drop it in the chat. So when I do my YouTube, Facebook Lives, it's 2 in 1. So it's supporting people on 2 platforms based on which platform they like to learn on, but I'm getting double the effect. Same thing with TikTok and IG Reels. So one video weekly here and one video per day. Now, here's the thing. If anyone says like, Rachel, that sounds like a lot of work. Well, yeah, absolutely. But you know what else is a lot of work? Stressing about where your next client's going to come from. You know what else is a lot of work? Not trying cold calling and cold DMing and pitching and trying to find clients desperately, absolutely everywhere. You'll do a lot of really hard work trying to avoid this hard work when this is the single most effective thing that I've found for quickly generating clients. It's not speaking on stages. It's not just having one video that goes viral. It's not having a TEDx talk or writing a book. Those aren't the things that build a business as fast as these things. Who's getting some big ahas in the second part? And you're like, thank goodness I'm still hanging out because it's only getting better. Do you guys notice? Who's noticed this with my trainings? We always start out basic and get more and more and more intense, and it keeps ramping up. Okay, but let's nerd out just a little bit more. So who here is realizing that I just gave you the entire formula for the single greatest way to build your business? Okay, right here. Long-term, searchable, leveraged content, specifically video, is going to perform better. It's going to shortcut decades in days or months. And then I recommend YouTube, Facebook Lives, TikTok, IG Reels. If you want to use a different platform, that's fantastic. And so one video per week here would work really well, and one video per day would work really well here. Monday through Friday, you can even take weekends off. I don't work weekends. And I haven't for a long time because I realized My work is best when I have time to rest. And that has been truly transformational. Okay, so let's keep nerding out, you guys, because this is going to get more and more intense. Who's excited for Q&A at the end too? All right, now this is what's wild, okay? There are about 8 levers that I look at to identify if a freelancer has the high ticket mindset and the system set up to scale their business. By the way, one of those levers is the way that you're marketing your own business, because a lot of times freelancers like abandon the marketing of their own business because they just want to do great work for clients, or they're nervous, or it's uncomfortable, or whatever. One of those levers is that. Okay, so let's dive on into these. There are 8 questions I can ask a freelancer to identify their likelihood of success with getting high ticket clients, scaling to 6 figures. And this is not just based on my journey, because I will say, and this is important to note, I am a little bit of an outlier with the way that I do everything. I am absolutely a bulldog. I am extremely resourceful. I am extremely hardworking, but there are still people who work harder than me who don't see the same results. So I want to put that out there, that like the results that I have are a little bit out of the ordinary. Okay. So if you're like, well, how can I get this to 7 figures? Just focus on 6 first. Okay. But I've studied thousands of freelancers and identified certain patterns that I can almost with 100% success, I can guarantee, or not guarantee, but I predict whether or not they're going to scale to 6 figures in their business. You guys ready for those questions? Number 1, and feel free to answer this yes or no in the chat. Number 1, do you already have clients and cash flow? Drop a yes or no in the chat. Do you already have clients or cash flow? Number 2, are you marketing your own business as though you were your client? Drop a yes or a no in the chat. Number 3, do you have clear boundaries, communicated and enforced? That is just as important as communicating them. Drop a yes or a no. Does anyone love seeing that like you can show up on video with absolutely no makeup, even if you have like red spots and, tired eyes and stuff? Does anyone say that is really, really helpful to see? Okay. Who's loving these questions already? Because you're identifying some of the roadmap of where you've got to grow. It's pretty powerful. Okay. Number 4, are you charging high ticket pricing? Yes or no? Number 5, what about working on your mindset? Are you working on your mindset actively and passively every single day? Yes or no? I feel like I missed a number. I totally missed a number, you guys. Hold on. Now I have to look at my notes real fast because I'm like, what? I missed a number? Hold on, guys. Okay. Next question. Oh, here it is. How about systems? Where are you at with systems for your business? Does everything have a system and a process to support it and to support your scaling and growth? Got that yes or no. Next question. Are you confident with your sales process? Yes or no in the chat. And number 8, do you have a support system that encourages you and keeps you accountable? Drop a yes or a no in the chat. And then look back at your answers and see how many yeses versus nos that you have. Generally speaking, someone can have a lot of good things working, but there are certain ones that I weigh more heavily, including, are you marketing your own business as though you were your client? Are you charging high ticket pricing? And do you work on your mindset each and every day? So who here is realizing, oh, there's some work to do? This is pretty powerful. So like I said, I've studied thousands of freelancers to really identify these things. Now I'm going to give you the truth about these things. All right, ready? Number one, you need a system. If you don't have a system, you are the system. Number 2, You need a plan that you follow each day to market your own business. Notice I said that you follow each day to market your own business. This could almost be like the 8 commandments of high ticket and successful freelancers. This is pretty powerful, right? Number three, you need to know which types of clients you will work with according to budget and industries and price accordingly. Number four, you need to have systems that protect both you and your client to keep the business running smoothly. And that includes boundaries. That protects you. That also protects the client from themselves. I always lose track of numbers. Next one, you need a sales process that is tried and tested and works. You need to be actively supported by mindset work from mentors, affirmation, meditations, community resources, and intentional programming. And you need to have a community and support system that understands your goals, roots for you, encourages you, and holds you accountable. Who here says, I'm both a little overwhelmed and excited, or realizing what I'm missing and also feeling some hope? How are you guys feeling? Drop it in the chat. And I will open up Q&A in just about 10 minutes. Cool? Or less. We might get to it in even less time. How are you feeling? Who's gotten some ahas from today already? Drop aha in the chat. Fantastic. Hope. Both and hopeful, excited and overwhelmed. Hope, amazing. Fantastic, you guys. All right. So, is it okay with you guys if I share with you a natural next step if I make an offer? Is that okay with you? And then we'll dive into Q&A. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So, I just wanted to real fast share this with you because I know for some of you, you're like, Rachel, I want to implement these things in my business. I need help with mindset, systems, my own marketing, etc. And so I just want to offer this to you. You are invited to book a call with my team about my mentorship and mastermind program. Now, I'll real fast touch on it because I know that it has a lot of the resources that will support you with it. It has Okay, who am I kidding? It has all of the resources that will support you with all of this. After 7 years of freelancing and supporting thousands of freelancers, based on these questions, I put together a series of trainings, templates, swipe files, done for you, contracts, proposals, all of the above. I put everything together that a freelancer needs to scale to 6 figures. And I put it all together in my program, The Social Click. And so I dropped the link right there if you want to book a call with my team. Don't worry, they're not aggressive or pushy. They're like me. They're really kind, helpful, supportive, etc. They're not going to like tell you like if you don't join, you suck or anything like that. The truth is, though, we put together everything from 100K systems. That includes the proposals that you want to use, the system that you want to follow, how to price your services, the contracts that you need, the follow-up emails, how to handle tough conversations with clients. We also put together marketing plans for you. And so you can actually get daily content prompts. So each and every day, you know exactly what to create. Plus, you're supported inside of the Social Click by myself and our 3 fantastic coaches. So you never, ever have to do it alone. It's a community so that you can work towards your goals in a place that gets you and the drive that you have, encourages you, answers your questions. But we also have inside of 100K systems how to set yourself up for scaling, hiring, firing, attracting clients. We have actually an entire system called the Client Attraction Machine. And you can follow it, literally build it out and allow it to work in the background as you market your business with your social media and video content. But not only that, we have your sales scripts and questions for discovery calls, how to handle interesting situations. Plus, we support the mindset work that you need with a private click podcast, scripts for everything, plus recommendations and training specifically on mindset. Inside of the click, you also have accountability with 100 days of imperfect action that compiles all of the steps that I've identified the most successful freelancers do consistently. So you can literally each and every day go into your 100 days of imperfect action and go ahead and put an X in all of the tasks and track your progress over time. As you do, like the X will turn the box green. So you can have a visual representation of how you've grown with your habits, your systems, and your mindset. So I want to invite you guys. Thanks, Lisa. I want to invite you guys to feel free to apply for a call right now. Now, I will say, my team, they don't say yes to everybody. And I know that everyone says that, but I really mean that. Last time we checked, we accept between 14 and 28% of people who apply. We keep it very, very safe and supported and high quality, great conversations go on in there. Plus, it's kind of like the behind the scenes of my business. That's where I share what I'm working on with my clients, the client opportunities that I'm working on, the different things that I'm doing. Sometimes I'll pop up and I'll be like, hey guys, I'm going to work out this strategy for my client. Do you want to hop on? And I'll do it over Zoom for, 3 hours, and you can just hop in whenever you can and feel free to watch and ask questions. So it's literally like jumping on in, having me, three coaches, and an entire community behind you to support you. Plus, we have the 100K toolkit, which is filled with almost 20 tools designed to support you get clients as fast as possible. All right. So if you want to apply for a call with my team, they're amazing. You can go to clickforlife.com and let's open up Q&A. Let's go for it, you guys. Who's gotten some value today? The social click is $10,000 for the year or $1,000 per month. Bernie says, I definitely needed this. You're always on all the trainings. It really, really impresses me. Like you're always growing and learning, and I see it. Like you're nonstop, just like programming your mind. It's really, really encouraging, Bernie. I love it. All right. What questions do you guys have? I know you have some after we've been spending the last hour and 20 minutes together. Justin says, value bumps. Thanks, Justin. You're so nice. Can you recommend any social media management books? Unfortunately, social media management books are very difficult to keep updated. So most of the books about social media are pretty rough. I'm just going to be honest. I actually recommend learning other topics that support success on social media instead of learning social media from books. If you want to learn about social media management, just watch my YouTube videos because I teach all the different things you might need, whether it's how to crush it with IG Reels, to TikTok, to YouTube, to going viral. Like I teach all of those things totally for free on YouTube. So you can do that. Like, for example, my book comes out in 2022. It is 2022. It comes out in fall of 2022. And we couldn't put any specific things about the individual platforms in the book, or else it's super outdated so fast because platforms change almost every day. And so instead, what we did is we shared the strategies, what I recommend teaching, the frameworks for social, etc. So a few books that I am a huge fan of include Influence by Dr. Robert Cialdini. Actually, I think I have a list of the marketing books I recommend. Let me pull it up. Marketing books. Yep, this is by far my 10 favorite books about marketing right now. There we go. There we go. Should you repurpose content at the same time, or should you wait in case audiences are on both platforms? You can do it either way. So some people are weird about repurposing because they're like, I don't want people to see the same stuff. Most people don't see the same stuff on both platforms. So feel free to share it on both. I do pretty much most of the time the same day. Do I recommend you put your prices on your website even if we don't know what services a business needs yet? No. Wait until after this discovery call. Customize your pricing to make it high ticket. Cool. So I'm a 10 out of 10 fan of making things white glove and a serious like experience. So don't put your prices on your website. It honestly like kind of devalues the work you do and it makes me sad. How to explain what client should expect per month on retainer model. Well, first up, in the proposal, you're going to share the specific deliverables. The way that I teach proposals is delivering a strategic marketing plan. And so you deliver a strategic marketing plan to each and every proposal that you send out, including a video explanation. And when you do this, the client says, like, you listened to my problems, you over delivered with this proposal, and it increases your close rate significantly. So your proposal is going to host the deliverables, and make sure not to promise results, because most freelancers aren't in a place where they can guarantee results yet. I've started guaranteeing results, and I wouldn't have done it any sooner, or else I feel like I wouldn't have. Yeah, there's just so much out of your control when you're doing that. How should you show that you're worth the money? You do not need to convince anybody. Nope, don't start low. Don't work for free. If you need to secure clients at low ticket prices while you learn, that's one thing. But I'm just going to tell you, like, you don't get a discount at the doctor's just because a resident is working on you and they're learning. You get zero discount. So just remember, you can charge people up front. So go back to what I just taught here. This is going to tell people that you know your stuff and you're worth the money, and that you are someone who has an abundance mindset and that you have value. So switching the model from I'm going to try to convince people to absolutely not, I do not convince and I do not chase, I attract, it is a game changer. Okay. Tips for a 1-year-old mom, spending all day with the kid, no one else helping throughout the day. Husband comes home really late and leaves really early. How can I plan my day and get more work to earn more? So there's a few creative solutions that you can put in place. For example, and I'll just share things that I've done, but you might find something different. For example, we've had family live with us to watch the kids, if that's a possibility. Right now, our current solution is Paul's mom is hired full time as our nanny, so she watches the kids while we work, and that's been a real win-win. Sometimes you can shift your day so that you wake up before your kid wakes up and get work done, or you can get work done after they go to bed. Another thing that really helped me is I would get like a membership. I think the Y has it, like the YMCA. They have this thing where you can get like 1 or 2 hours of childcare, and they're pretty affordable. So I'd go walk on the treadmills and get my work done on the treadmills while I did that, because I had to get creative. Another thing that you can do too is, like, for example, I'll take the kids to a park and get work done while I'm there, as long as it's like a gated and safe park. You can also, what else do I like to do? That's when I'll bring out like the either like crafts or something that keeps them busy for a while. Or I'll just be honest, I'm a fan of being like, all right, kids, it's time for educational YouTube videos because mama's got to work. Like, that's how I'll do some of those things. But also give yourself grace in that season, without a doubt. What color is my book? I don't know yet. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I will say, oh, I'm so excited. The title is being finalized. The final manuscript was just submitted yesterday, like literally late last night. But I don't know what color it is, and I'm so excited. I do have certain preferences. For example, I love pink, but I know that, like, I do also have a male audience, and oftentimes guys won't love carrying around a pink book. So my publisher has an entire design team working on the front and back cover, and today I'm taking the photos for that book, which is really cool. So I'm very excited about it, but I don't know yet. Oh, it's going to be so cool. All right. I'm just starting as a social media manager, but I'm very confused about where to start from. I'm confident with what I know to do, but everyone is asking for experience. So you get out ahead of the experience questions in game by going back to what I shared about marketing, and treat yourself as your own client. No one can argue if you're doing the work. So you can literally say, I've literally built up my platform to 300 followers. I literally had this video go viral. But treat yourself as your own client until you have clients, and market yourself with content that is video, searchable, leveraged, and long-term. Any tips on raising rates for current clients? Yes, only raise rates for current clients if you're comfortable with losing them all. Most people do not react well to a price raise, even if, like, most people will not expand their budget to meet a new price. For example, I saw a tweet the other day, and this was serious. Actually, I think it was my sister. I'm pretty sure it was my sister. And she said, my landlord's raising my rent by $90. So I'm considering moving to an apartment that costs $300 more per month. Like people don't like to pay more for what they're already getting. So feel free to either send them all that notice and recognize that they might leave, or only send it to the ones that are kind of getting to be pains in the butt. How do we make them see us as worthy of $1,000 per month? You need to see yourself as worthy of $5,000 per month. So the truth is, when you show up in high ticket mindset, you need to work on your mindset first, because no one else is going to see it until you really truly see it, believe it, and act on it. So you don't need to convince anyone or make them see you as that. You need to see yourself as worthy. Visualize yourself charging $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 per month, and then start marketing yourself as though you have that level of confidence. Okay, what else? What else? Family coming to help is not an option. I get that. I get that. Oh, you know what's really funny? I was actually in Mexico at the same time as you guys, but I was literally on Cozumel. But I will see you in Boise, and I'm so excited. It'll be awesome. I actually think Paul's not coming this time. Kellyanne might go with me, but I'm super excited for the Boise trip. So I'll see you soon. All right. Any other questions? Aw, you're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. And give yourself some grace when you have a 1-year-old. Please remember that's a season that's very challenging. Not enough people talk about that. Like, honestly, the seasons while your kids are like under 3 are so much more challenging than anyone shares. And I think sometimes new parents think that they're also expected to like grow their business to $1 million and also write a book and also have a six pack and also run a marathon. And the truth is, like, there's no reason that you have to bounce back or have to, like, you know what I mean? Like, give yourself some grace. If I could go back in time, I would like hold younger Rachel's face and be like, you're not going to do as much as before you had kids or before this season. And it's okay. We just hit the turning point. Dom's turning 4 in a month. And I'm like, we've really hit a turning point. It's very different now. Any tips? How do I get back in alignment with myself? Yep. Focus on your mindset, meditations, affirmations, visualization, positive self-talk. Get yourself a mentor who kicks your butt and helps you to develop that mindset and challenge your old beliefs and rewire your brain. Get around a community that supports you with developing that mindset. Read books that fuel that mindset. Turn off the stuff that makes you feel like garbage. Unfollow the people who make you feel less than. Those are all important. Mindset is something, keep in mind, however old you are. I'm 32. I have spent, 25 years speaking poorly to myself, not believing I was deserving, not thinking I would ever be super successful or anything like that, but still kind of like having that hope and that desire. And it's only over the last 7 years that I've really worked on it. And this is the first year where I'm like, dude, I have no mindset issues. Like, my mindset is rock solid. I can't be shaken. So it takes time, but you have to like intentionally go about it to rewire yourself. If it's our first client, they don't know that. Good job, by the way, not telling them that they're your first client. And we're learning with them. Should we charge high prices like 3K retainer per month or lower since we're just starting out? You can charge 3K if there's a quote in a book. What book was I reading? Charge prices that you feel good about saying without laughing out loud when you say them. That's going to be different for every person. So if charging 3K with a brand new client does not make you feel reassured, you can absolutely charge 2K or 1K. Go for it. All right. Amazing. How do you handle the right now mentality from scopes, contracts, and invoices that they never pay within 24 to 48 hours that set me back to the right now mentality? Like right now, I've got a woman that came in for a full strategy based on just an outline. I'm literally her mastermind on this, and she's been calling outside of my call hours and not willing to book an appointment. It is time for you to rework your business according to the Business by Design. Business by Design is something I teach inside of the Social Click. You need to have how we work documents. You need to make it clear how, when, where, and why clients communicate with you, what the meetings look like. And then you need to not only communicate it, but enforce it. Because the truth is, the world's never going to stop asking. So for example, I had a client that was nonstop like messaging me on Instagram asking me for things when that's not how I work. So what I finally did was just I literally set her messages on Instagram to unfollow so I couldn't see them, because that's not where I said I communicated. So you have to enforce the boundaries that you create and get out of that right now mentality yourself first and foremost. With contracts and invoices, I send invoices 7 days before, 7 days before it's due, and we send reminders. And the second the invoice isn't paid on the due date, all work stops. And I call the client or send the email that says, hey, I stopped all work because the invoice isn't paid. That's very important. It will totally transform your business. You're in women in marketing. That's so cool. Yay. Nice to meet you officially. Any advice on reels? Yes, do them consistently. Shoot for like one a day. I always test things to the limit. This is just a part of my personality type. I'm not very good at doing things in moderation. It takes me a lot of work. Yes, if you want to learn how to create reels, literally search for my YouTube channel. I teach you how to do it all. Cool. But I do like 10, 20 at a time, more just because I want to test and learn fast, but only because I'm impatient and like to do things really fast. So yes, yes, yes. All right, you guys, let's call it an amazing day. Thanks for hanging out, and feel free to book the call with my team if you're needing help with systems, sales, boundaries, marketing yourself, attracting prospects, mindset. You may be ready for the social click. You're invited to apply. I record in TikTok and then repurpose them to Reels. So check out my YouTube videos for complete tutorials on that. All right, you guys, I'll catch you later. Bye for now. Have such a good